My name's Davida Shensky, and the title of this program is Live Without Limits, Reach Personal Success on a Daily Basis. Our purpose is to talk to you about mental health, psychology, and mindfulness, or anything that causes you to limit your beliefs about yourself. And today we're talking about how my emotional breakdown was the wake up call I needed and could be yours too. I had a toxic relationship with my parents as my father physically abused me while my mother mentally and emotionally abused me. As I got older, I began to realize that my family was only repeating the behaviors that they experienced as a child themselves. I woke up one day like a complete emotional mess. Heavy emotions were rising, and when I was in college, I studied mental health and psychology. I also had a close friend who was a family therapist that I could talk to for support. I would often feel as though my life had no purpose because at the time society didn't recognize its disability community. And even though we had laws in the books today, they're still not as enforced as they could be. And I was hoping for some reassurance that everything would be okay and that I wasn't truly falling apart. But instead, my friend surprised me with her response. Good, she said, it's about time. Embrace it fully. Now, finding support. I could tell that she understood the importance of embracing my emotions fully and allowing myself to let go of everything that had been holding me back. After her initial responses, my friend went on to elaborate further on what she meant. She assured me that she would be there for me as I allowed myself to fully let go of my emotions, telling me that she saw me and loved me, even though my darkest and ugliest moments in life. It was a revelation to me because for a long time I had been putting on a mask of a fake smile and an impenetrable wall around my heart, pretending everything was okay when it was not. But my friend had seen right through my facade and understood the turmoil going on inside me. Her willingness to stand by me during my emotional breakdown and her unwavering support meant more to me than words could ever express. It was a turning point in my life, and I will always be grateful to her for helping me to confront my emotions and start on a path towards healing. So, this was the beginning of a raw and real journey to go from emotional brokenness to a state of emotional wholeness. As I fully embraced my brokenness, meaning I took off my mask and threw it to the ground, I could then really start looking at what was going on below the surface. I could stop stuffing and pretending that I had it all together. I could admit that sometimes I needed and wanted help. I could then begin reaching out for the kind of help that resonated with me. Climbing out of the pit of depression. Everyone falls into the pit of sadness, brokenness, or depression at times. However, it's what you do while you're in it that makes a big difference in your future. Not only that, but it's also important for you to surround yourself with people who support you. For me, I had to stop acting like I could do everything myself. I had to stop holding everything in, wearing a smile like everything was peachy when in fact it wasn't. Life wasn't great. A lifetime of repressed emotions were causing me immense inner pain. Positive affirmations weren't helping me. I couldn't put myself out of the darkness I'd fallen into. So, how I became stronger and more emotionally whole as a woman. When an emotional breakdown occurs, it can be the springboard for emotional healing. I had to admit that I'd never dealt with my past baggage and needed help in processing some negative emotions. Looking back on my childhood, I can recall several instances where I chose to repress my emotions when I felt afraid or angry. I remember a specific incident when I was around 10 years old and I was bullied by some kids in my class. They teased me relentlessly, calling me hurtful names, and I was too scared to speak up or defend myself. Instead, I bottled up my feelings of anger and frustration, putting on a brave face and pretending like it didn't bother me. As I grew older, I continued to adopt this coping mechanism of repressing my emotions when faced with difficult situations. I convinced myself that it was better to keep my feelings to myself rather than make a scene or burden others with my problems. However, this approach only served to make my emotional struggles worse, and I found myself unable to process negative emotions in a healthy way. So, here are some following things to help in your journey and still do towards regaining self worth and confidence along your journey. My prayer is that if you're struggling, that you will get the help also. There are support groups for those struggling emotionally and relationally. They really helped me begin to focus on myself and my emotional recovery as opposed to caretaking everyone else. National Alliance on Mental Illness, otherwise known as NAMI. Support groups for individuals living with mental illness and their families. Domestic violence support groups for individuals who have experienced or are experiencing domestic violence, grief, share support groups for those have experienced the loss of a loved one, Anxiety and Depression Association of America, ADAA. Support groups for individuals living with anxiety and depression, Codependence Anonymous, or CODA. Support groups for individuals who struggle with codependency and unhealthy relationships, prayer and meditation, learning how to sit quietly with myself and my creator helped a lot. Going within always helps me remember the more important things in life, such as love, peace, and compassion. It's amazing how just taking some time to sit quietly or meditate can have a huge impact on our emotional well being. When we slow down our pace and turn our attention inward, it becomes so much easier to process feelings and emotions and to see things more clearly. I personally find prayer and meditation to be incredibly peaceful ways to deal with emotions and find some inner peace. Prayer allows you to connect with a higher power and gives you access to guidance and support when you need it the, the most. And meditation helps you cultivate a sense of calm and clarity, earning you and enabling you to observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Taking the time to practice these things regularly can really help you to break free from any negative thoughts or emotions that have been holding you back. By doing so, you can find greater peace and contentment in your life and feel empowered to take on any challenges that come your way. Counseling. I committed to seeing a professional therapist for at least 6 months. I wanted and needed someone to journey me deeper into my psyche to see what shadows were lurking. If you're struggling with your emotions and need some extra support, don't hesitate to reach out for help. Seeking professional therapy can be an incredibly impactful way to deal with difficult emotions and move towards healing and wholeness. Supportive community. I made myself go out to gatherings and found my community. No longer did I have to feel like I didn't really belong anywhere. Finding a supportive community can also be a powerful way to improve your emotional well being and feel more connected to others. My emotional breakdown was the start of my healing process. Emotional healing can be challenging, but a necessary journey. It takes time, effort, vulnerability, but the rewards are enormous. Whether it's through practices like meditation or prayer, seeking therapy, or finding a supportive community, healing is possible. As someone who's been there, I can attest to the positive changes that come from committing to your emotional well being. These practices have become a part of my life and have helped me stay more balanced, connected, and content. I believe that we all benefit from such sacred connections. So, how are you doing? Really, take the time to reflect on your emotional well being and make sure that you have a commitment to yourself to prioritize your healing journey because you're worth it. And only you can decide when you're ready. Because if you're not ready to change your behavior, if you're not ready to heal, then no matter how much therapy you go through, it you will never change. Therefore, it's important for you to sit down and decide what do you want to do and are you ready to get rid of all of that emotional baggage.